Do you think that it's possible to forgive and forget if someone literally murdered one of your family members? Now that is an extreme example of implementing the lesson of how to forgive and forget. Before we get into that amazing story, we need to go over some points so we can all understand why it is important to forgive and forget fully and not hold any emotional trauma in our hearts towards other people. I'm going to be using the lessons from this book, Psycho-Cybernetics from Maxwell Maltz. I'm going to be going over the points in chapter 10, which is called How to Remove Emotional Scars, or How to Give Yourself an Emotional Facelift. So from the start of this video, you may be thinking, if that happened, if someone killed someone close to me, if something horrible happened like that to me, I can never forgive and forget. Now that is an extreme example, but sometimes you have to use extreme examples to set a precedent or learn a lesson. You may have past experiences in your life that you hold in your heart right now that you still feel pain from or trauma from, and you think, I will never ever be able to forgive and forget from that. I still have that pain in my heart and I don't think I can ever let that go. But that is actually a disservice to your own life, and that is not something that you should do. The common misconception of I can never forgive and forget is wrong. In the book Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz shares a quote from Henry Ward Beecher that says, I can forgive but I cannot forget is only another way of saying I will not forgive. So if you actually want to get rid of the trauma and baggage in your life, you have to really, genuinely, and completely learn how to forgive and forget. As long as you still hold that pain within you, you will never be able to achieve your best life and live to your full potential. The pain that you feel from the stuff that you've gone through in your life is like a wound within your heart. And if you do feel that pain, that is your body telling you that there's something wrong and you need to find a way to eliminate that pain. You need to find a way to heal that wound. The way to do that is to forgive and forget. Maxwell Maltz says, your forgiveness should be forgotten as well as the wrong which was forgiven. Forgiveness which is remembered and dwelt upon reinfects the wound you are attempting to cauterize. If you still have that wound within you, it's trying to heal, but you're not healing it completely because you're not really forgiving and forgetting. To really heal the wound within you so it benefits you and your life, you need to really forgive and forget all the emotions against someone. That is not to the benefit of the other person, it's actually to the benefit of you. It'll actually help you and help you live the best life you can. It is something hard, but it's something that is completely necessary. Another major misconception and fallacy that many of us have probably done, I've done it as well, is using forgiveness as a weapon. Maxwell Maltz shares a quote from Tillotson, the former Archbishop of Canterbury. I have really no idea what that is, but it sounds like an important person, who said, a more glorious victory cannot be gained over another man than this, that when the injury begins on his part, the kindness should begin on ours. And Maxwell Maltz says, this is just another way of saying that forgiveness itself can be used as an effective weapon of revenge, which it can. Revengeful forgiveness, however, is not therapeutic forgiveness. So you do not want to do revengeful forgiveness. That is not a genuine way of forgiving. It's not the real true way that you can heal your emotional trauma and really grow. When you do that, you're really just forgiving so you can be in a superior position than another person. You want to be the person on the high ground. You want to see someone else as lesser than you. When you do revengeful forgiveness, you're basically saying, I'm a better person because I'm forgiving the person that's wronged me. But if you're doing that, it's not real forgiveness. Do you think that would genuinely help you in the future? Maxwell Maltz mentions that you want to do therapeutic forgiveness. Therapeutic forgiveness cuts out, eradicates, cancels, makes the wrong as if it had never been. Therapeutic forgiveness is like surgery. Imagine you're having a surgery. You want to disinfect the wound, stitch it together, and make sure it heals like the wound has never been there at all. And if you just have that metaphor in your mind of what therapeutic forgiveness is, you can just instantly tell that that is the real way of forgiveness. You're going to want to heal from it like it never even happened. You can grow from it. You can remember the lessons from it. But the pain and the trauma that you felt in the past, you want to get rid of that completely. I know I'm saying this stuff and it is very difficult. It's something you may not ever be able to do. I cannot do that right now. I'm still learning. But it's undoubtedly the best way for you to heal. This is the idea that you need to have into your mind to really forgive and forget. It is very hard to change, But if you listen to this video so far, I think you should realize that forgiving, forgetting, healing the wound as if it's never been there, it is undoubtedly the thing you need to do. Another lesson is that you need to give up grudges. This is something that really related to me as a Muslim, because in Islam, we follow the teachings of the final prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. Let me share with you what he said in an authentic narration that's been preserved since around 1500 years ago. The prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings upon him, said, "Do not desert one another, do not nurse hatred towards one another, do not be jealous of one another, and become as fellow brothers and slaves of Allah or God. It is not lawful for a Muslim to stop talking to his brother for more than 3 days." In the religion of Islam, the religion I follow, the religion that over 2 billion people follow, you are not allowed to hold a grudge and stop talking to another Muslim for 3 days, 72 hours. Let's say, for example, someone wronged you, someone insulted you, swore at you, they got angry at you. You are not allowed to hold a grudge and be mad at that person. You can be mad at them, I guess. You're not allowed to stop talking to that person for 3 days. After that point, you need to talk to them, say Assalamu alaikum to them, which is what Muslims greet one another with, which literally means may peace be upon you. You literally have to wish another Muslim peace even if they did you wrong 3 days after they did it. And that is a beautiful thing that Islam teaches, that the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, teaches, because to really get over an issue is not to put it away. It's not to keep the pain in your heart and never talk to the person again. That is really dumb if you think about it. And it's something that many of us may do. Someone may have wronged us. We never talk to them for weeks, months, years, maybe for the rest of our lives, and we hold that grudge within us. But if we make sure that we, as soon as possible, do not hold a grudge, forgive that person, even if you don't want to, realize that forgiving them is the way for you to grow and become the best version of yourself. You need to have that therapeutic forgiveness. As soon as possible, start the process of healing that wound, cutting it out, and talking to that person like the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, said. You need to really learn to forgive and forget. And the way to do that is to at least start talking with that person. Because if you don't talk to them, then you'll just keep having that pain in your heart, and you'll have that within you for the rest of your life. Now, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned how there's a story of someone whose family member was murdered, and they were able to forgive and forget the murderer of the family member. Now, that is a crazy claim to make, but this has actually happened in history. Now that we have those lessons, this story, it'll really be able to hit home. And this is a true story. 1500 years ago, there was a war between two cities. One man from one side of the war saw the general's uncle, and he was a tank. He was someone that was very formidable, but he saw an opportunity to take out the general's uncle. So he grabbed a spear, he was a spearman, and he threw it at the general's uncle, and the spear went through his chest and out towards the other side. He killed one of the formidable people on the other side. Now, many people saw this happen, and they recognized the spearman who threw the spear. And this was a well-known incident that happened, and everyone knew this person. So after the war was over, the spearman went into hiding, because he knew if anyone found out where he was, then the other side would come for him, and they might want to kill him for killing the general's uncle, a very honorable person and someone who the general really loved. So he went into hiding from place to place, hiding in caves and stuff like that. Eventually, a message came to the spearman that the general was contacting him. He actually wanted to meet with him and allow him to actually join his society and following. So the spearman went to the general's city. The general met with him. He was able to forgive and forget that the spearman murdered his uncle, and he allowed him to live in his society. Now, this is a crazy story. This is actually a story from Islamic history. And it's a story of when someone named Wahshi, radiallahu anhu, which is a term of respect we give to the companions of the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, he accepted Islam because the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, sent out an invitation to him to join the Muslims, even though he did something very horrific, which is killing his own uncle. And the only condition that the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, said was, can you hide your face from me? Because obviously he didn't want to be reminded of the tragic death of his uncle who he really loved. But the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, truly was able to forgive and forget the murderer of his uncle, Wahshi, who became a very senior, respected, and noble companion. And that is true forgiveness and forgetting. Now, if the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, a human being like us, was able to extend the lesson of forgiving and forgetting on someone who murdered someone he loved very dearly, why are we not able to do it in our day-to-day lives? You can't imagine something more extreme and heart-wrenching than the murder of someone you know. And in Islamic history, the Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, someone who Muslims we consider him the best man who's ever lived, he was able to forgive and forget in this situation. There's no excuse for us to not start implementing forgiving and forgetting. So I have a newsletter called Hamza's Ideal Insights that I just started recently. I'll include some notes from this video on more of how we can implement forgiving and forgetting, my notes, my lessons, and stuff like that. The link is in the description if you want to sign up. I'd really appreciate it. Forgiving and forgetting is something that is extremely hard, but undoubtedly it's something, if you watch this video, you realize it is the best action for us to take. It is the best mindset for us to take. We as Muslims, if you're a Muslim, you already know that we believe that God put us through trials to see how we will react. And if you actually have gone through a lot of trials and tribulations, that shows you that Allah or God loves you more. And even if you're not a religious person, you're not a Muslim, you can also see that any trial that you've went through is a learning opportunity. So all we can do is learn from our past trials. We all have had trauma and emotional stuff in our past that we have to deal with, but the best course of action is to learn from it and do our best to forgive and forget anyone that has harmed us, so then we can live with a clean slate. We can really live our ideal lives if we're able to implement forgiving and forgetting. I genuinely hope this information will change your life, and I wish nothing but the best for you.